Hi there, my name is Mark and welcome to video 2 of 3 in this introduction to Apple Classroom. In this video, we are going to be demoing the classroom environment, how to use scopes, how to create your own scopes, groups, and how to perform actions on devices that are in scope. So let's get straight to the demos. To the left, I have the teacher iPad, and to the right, the student iPad. I'm going to get started with the student iPad and navigate into settings. In that left sidebar, I'm going to choose Classroom, where as a student, I can see which classes I'm a member of, and I can even drill into this, see who my teachers are, and whether or not I'm connected to the classroom. Now, the teacher actually has access to the Classroom app, so we're going to go ahead and open that up. And let's get ourselves comfortable with the interface a little bit here. In the top left-hand corner, I can toggle the sidebar. So I have access to my classes, and I also have access to my agendas. Now, we'll take care of agendas in the last video where we learn how we can create our digital lessons. So for now, I'm just going to move back into my classes and get started with my Mathematics 1C course. Now notice in the student iPad, they connected automatically to my class. So Newton is now online. In fact, let's go take a look here in our global scope. Newton is online and in settings. Now, what we can also do is use that sidebar now. So we're going to toggle it to take a look at our scopes. And right now, I am scoping to all the students in my class, so all the students are visible. I can also scope to those students who are offline, and notice that Newton is no longer visible. Toggling the sidebar once again, I can see that I can toggle to a specific app. So for example, I can see that Newton is the only student who is in settings right now. Moving over to the student iPad, Newton decides to close settings, and notice that the Classroom app automatically updates, so I can see that Newton is now on the home screen. All right, let's move back into the global scope and move to our first action. We're going to open up an app for all our students who are in scope. So these are all the students in my class. What I want to do is open up the Clock app, and notice that the Clock app automatically opens on all the iPads who are within scope. However, the student can close it that easily. So what if I wanted them to be locked into that app? No problem. Let's go back to the action, but this time before I select the app, I'm going to toggle the Lock in App After Opening toggle switch here. And then I can go ahead and select the app that I want to open and lock them into. Automatically, the student device is now locked into the Clock app. They cannot exit the app, and they can only work within this app until we unlock it. So on my teacher iPad, I'm going to go in that top left-hand corner there, hard to see, to get back into Classroom. And let's see here, Newton is in the Clock app and it is locked. So what I'd like to do is unlock the app for all the students who are in scope. And I can do this by going to the navigation bar and selecting the unlock action, and immediately all the iPads that are in scope will be unlocked, and the student can then go ahead and close the app if they wish to do so. Now, I did say earlier that I was going to show you how to create your own scopes or your own groups. So let's go ahead and do that by toggling that sidebar, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom right-hand corner of the sidebar and create a new group. I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to spell it incorrectly on purpose here. So we have group 1. I'm going to press OK. And now I have to select within the large panel the students I'd like in this group. So I'm going to select these 3 students. This is hard to see. It's in the top right-hand corner that you can confirm that these are the students you want in the group. Let's go ahead and toggle that sidebar so that we can see the scopes that we have. And I want to fix the spelling of group 1. So I can edit. I'm going to go down to group 1, use the selector, and choose rename. And here I can rename this to group 1. Well, let me go back here. If I could spell group correctly. So we have group 1. Done. All right. Now I am going to create a second group. So this time I'm going to name the group. Well, let's call it group 2. So I've named it correctly this time. However, when I go to select the members of the group, I'm going to leave someone out on purpose this time. So I'm going to select 2 students, but I'm going to miss Leroy, for example. So I'm going to confirm these are the students I want. I notice I've made a mistake. No worries. I can toggle my scopes and I can go edit. I'm going to go ahead and edit group 2. And here I'm just going to edit. Choose the large panel, add Leroy, confirm it, and now I have all 3 students in group 2. Now some of you might have noticed that there was this other icon here, and this allows you to access your agendas, and again, we will deal with that in the last video. Let's go ahead and change the scope to group 1. This time I want to be able to navigate all my students to a particular website. To do this, I'm going to open up the navigator and I'm going to select Safari. Here I'll be able to choose the link that I'm interested in. In this case, it's the iPad user guide, and this opens up on all the students' iPads that are in scope, group 1, and I can even navigate there myself. Now I'm going to get back into Classroom because now I want to show you how I can view the screens of all the students that are in scope. And again, we're scoped to group 1. And you can see here that Newton is in Safari, and watch what happens when he interacts with that page. I can watch it in real time. However, if I wanted to be able to see only Newton's screen, I could change the scope by clicking on Newton, and we can see here that I can now choose the view screen action. And what we get is a full screen view of Newton's iPad as he interacts with it. And then I can click Done to get back into Classroom. I'm just going to go back up into my navigation bar so that I can toggle those screen views to off and show you the next action, which is to hide the student's apps on their screen. I wouldn't use this very often as a teacher, but it's available. And notice that the student can go ahead and open that app back up and continue where they left off. Let's change the scope to all students. And this time we're going to perform an action that I would use often as a teacher, which is to lock the devices that are in scope. So I can now see that my student's iPad is locked, and to unlock the devices, we can go back up to our navigation bar and choose the unlock action, and the device is ready to go after the student logs in. For this next action, I'm going to need to set it up first. So let me go ahead and scope the Playgrounds app to all my students. In fact, I'm just going to lock them in there by toggling that switch. And now each student is in the Playgrounds app, and they are going to get started with the first activity, which is getting started with code. Now they will go through the instructions quite quickly here. And the problem is that when they actually press start coding, music starts playing. So we can right away use our mute action to mute all the iPads in the classroom. Just be mindful here that the students can re-enable the sound by just toggling their volume rocker. Notice that it is possible to scope an individual's device, so I could unlock just Newton's device while all the other devices remain locked. While we're talking at the individual scope level, we also have the ability to AirPlay this student's device to a main display in the room. I also have the ability to change their password. It just requires that I log in with my managed Apple account. So there we have all the actions that are available in Apple Classroom. Let me go ahead and just show you how I can delete those groups to clean things up a little bit. I can, of course, just use a swipe to the left to delete a class. I can also use the edit option here and choose delete. So this isn't necessary. If you log back in to Classroom next time, your classes will be there. I'm ready to end this class now, so let's go up to the top right-hand corner, choose the selector, and let's keep an eye on that student iPad. We are going to leave the class. So I'm going to end class, and I get this incredible summary of which apps were used during my class. And if I click on an app, I get to see which students use that app for how long, and I get a timeline as well. If I want to see what an individual student has done during my lesson, I just click on the student and I get an overview of which apps for how long and on a timeline. And the best part of all, when I click done, it's not saved, so privacy is built in. Thank you for following with me through this demo of Apple Classroom. My name is Mark, and thank you for watching.